I'm Christopher Zweig, and today on CJ at the Movies, I give you some reviews of new movies, including the documentary Jazz Fest: A New Orleans Story, an early review of Downton Abbey: A New Era, Zac Efron and Kurtwood Smith in the horror reboot of Firestarter, and the Norwegian horror film from IFC Midnight, The Innocents. Let's take a look. Our first movie is Jazz Fest: A New Orleans Story, and this is the most high-spirited documentary of its kind I've seen since Summer of Soul, which won the Best Documentary Oscar. Jazz Fest is about a major music festival in New Orleans every year, in which everyone of all cultures come together for all the eclectic music performed by some of the most famous singers in the world, and this annual event allows people to be free from all troubles.
Every year I come, I look, I say, I can't believe this. It's like we've created our own world here. We create a little city out there for 7 days.
This event wasn't just known for music, but it was also for the delicious food, all of which looks mouthwatering.
You can go see 93-year-old Dookie Chase, famous gumbo's ear in your face.
This is the real stuff.
You could have been here.
And even when Hurricane Katrina hit the city, all hope wasn't lost, and the city's legacy would still live on.
No matter who comes, we have to put on Jazz Fest.
The resurrection of spirit and will to live with great expression.
I saw this film at Sony headquarters last month, and I was entertained by all the great songs, all the delicious cuisine, and all the faith and spirits of the celebrities in residence, who all reflect on the music festival's messages about everyone setting aside their differences and joining in on the fun. I haven't been to a jazz fest, but seeing this doc was a lot of fun, and I hope to go one day, so don't miss it. Our next movie is an early review of Downton Abbey: A New Era, the sequel to the 2019 hit based on Julian Fellowes' acclaimed PBS series. Among the returning actors, Maggie Smith plays the dying Violet Crawley, who has just passed down a villa in the south of France to her youngest granddaughter, something that her whole family never knew she had.
I will say goodnight and leave you to discuss my mysterious past.
Then comes Hugh Dancy as a filmmaker who wants to film a silent movie at the downtown estate, with the leads being played by Laura Haddock from Guardians of the Galaxy and Dominic West.
Cut!
Sorry.
The modern world comes to Downton.
Most of the family heads over to the villa, while others like the staff and Mary Crawley, played by Michelle Dockery, stay behind to help the crew out, especially when the film has to transcend from a silent film to a talking picture. Meanwhile, her father Robert, played by Hugh Bonneville, finds out that his mother met someone the year before he was born.
Years ago, before you were born, I met a man.
They spend a few days together, and he gives her a house.
You never thought to turn it down?
Do I look as if I'd turned down a villa in the south of France?
I enjoyed both Downton Abbey movies because of the elegant style and tone and delightful atmosphere that resonates with the series, and the performances from the cast are uniformly excellent in the ways they transcend from TV characters to the silver screen. Directed by Simon Curtis, A New Era deals with the arrival of talking pictures, not at the first-rate level of the artist, but on a fun scale. Fans will once again enjoy the frivolity and standards of these characters, and I did too. Our next movie is Firestarter, the reboot of the 1984 horror film based on Stephen King's novel about a little girl named Charlie McGee who was born with pyrokinesis and struggles to keep her fire powers at bay. The original starred Drew Barrymore in one of her earlier roles, and now Ryan Kiera Armstrong plays the little girl, while Zac Efron and Sydney Lemon play her parents, who were both originally part of a college experiment.
I'm not special, I'm a monster! Charlie!
I want to help her.
You want to use her.
Charlie? Don't be stupid.
Where's Mommy?
Do you feel that? Let her go or it's gonna get a lot worse.
Where's Mommy? Tell me now!
Kurtwood Smith plays the scientist who originally started the experiment, while Gloria Rubin plays the head of a government agency intending to capture the girl, but Charlie is willing to, you guessed it, fight fire with fire.
It can't be a reaction. It's gotta be a decision. That's the only way that you can control it.
The original Firestarter was mediocre, but this one is duller. I'm told it's supposed to be more faithful to the Stephen King story, and I haven't read it, so I can't compare and contrast it, but it has to rely on some dumb dialogue and a lot of fire to keep the story going. The last version was less than 2 hours long. This one is about 90 minutes. It's probably for the best because I don't want to be here any longer. It plays with fire and gets burnt. And our last movie is The Innocents, a Norwegian horror film from IFC Midnight about 4 kids, 3 of which develop some powers. There's a shy girl who hasn't developed any yet, her autistic older sister who would eventually regain her voice, a bullied kid who has telekinesis, and a vitiligo-stricken kid who can communicate telepathically.
Hold henne.
As you might expect in the movies, when kids and teens discover their powers, things can take a darker path. Parts of the film are either vague or boring, but The Innocents is still directed with thrills and personalities by Eskil Vogue, who also wrote some of Joachim Trier's films, and he knows how to guide these child actors who use their words, facial expressions, and emotions to process the darkness of their powers. It's strange and daring and cuts back on the easy story formulas and wall-to-wall effects. Certainly much better than Firestarter, so check it out. Now let's take another look at the movies I reviewed this week. Thumbs way up for the high-spirited Doc Jazz Fest, which is especially joyous and truthful for everyone who believes in diversity and fun. Thumbs up for Downton Abbey, A New Era, which continues to keep these PBS characters in their own territories. It opens everywhere next week. Thumbs down for Firestarter, which is not much of an improvement of a crappy 80s film based on a Stephen King novel. And finally, thumbs up for The Innocents, which has an interesting approach to the genre of kids finding out about the darkness of having powers, especially since one of them is autistic. Well, those are the movies I'm reviewing this week. I'm Christopher Zweig. Stay safe, and I'll see you at the movies. For more amazing content, please like and subscribe to my channels. You can also read my reviews at cjatthemovies.com and download the new HD Radio app.